Welcome back to my YouTube channel Coin Secrets. What if I told you that a simple penny sitting quietly in your drawer right now could be worth nearly $500,000? Not a rare gold coin. Not an ancient artifact. Just a 2009 Lincoln 1 cent, with no mint mark. Sounds unbelievable, right? That's exactly why most people miss it. Picture this: you're cleaning out an old jar of coins, the kind you've ignored for years. You almost toss it aside. But hidden among those ordinary pennies could be one mistake, one tiny error, that transforms your financial future overnight. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. While you're watching this, someone else is cashing in on coins just like yours. The difference? They knew what to look for, and they acted fast. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your pennies? Because today, we're uncovering the hidden power of the 2009 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that's quietly turning everyday people into unexpected winners, with values reaching up to $487,000 in today's market. And yes, that number is very real. But before you get too excited, there's a catch. Not every 2009 penny is valuable. Only a specific version, with a specific error, and a specific story behind it. And missing that detail? That could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Stay with me. Let's go back to 2009, a special year in U.S. coin history. It marked the 200th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, and the U.S. Mint released a series of redesigned pennies celebrating his life. These designs were meant to be memorable, but what collectors didn't expect were the rare mistakes hidden within them. Now here's where things get interesting. Some of these coins were struck without a mint mark, which might sound normal at first. But in certain cases, these coins also carry rare minting errors that dramatically increase their value. We're talking about errors like double dies, off-center strikes, and subtle design inconsistencies that only trained eyes, or lucky owners, notice. And here's the kicker: most people still don't know they exist. Think about that. A coin worth nearly $500,000, circulating unnoticed. Sitting in piggy banks. Lost in couch cushions. Passed around like it's nothing. It's almost ironic, isn't it? Something so small, holding such massive potential. Now let's pause for a second, quick reality check. If you found a $100 bill on the ground, would you ignore it? Of course not. So why ignore pennies, when one of them could be worth 4,870 times more than that? That's the mindset shift wealthy collectors understand. They don't see coins as spare change. They see them as hidden assets. And here's something most people won't tell you. The value of these coins isn't just about rarity. It's about demand. Serious collectors are constantly hunting for error coins like this. Auctions are competitive. Prices are climbing. And the fewer coins available, the higher those prices go. Which leads to one unavoidable truth. Time is not on your side. Every day, more of these coins are discovered, graded, and locked away in private collections. The window to find one in circulation is slowly closing. And that means one thing: if you don't act now, you might miss your chance completely. But don't worry, you're still here. And that already puts you ahead of millions of people. Now imagine this. You take a closer look at your coins tonight. You spot something unusual. You verify it. You send it for grading. And suddenly, that forgotten penny becomes a life-changing asset. Sounds like a dream? For some people, it already happened. So the question is, why not you? And hey, worst case scenario? You spend 10 minutes checking your coins and end up with more pennies. Best case? Well, let's just say your bank account might start looking very different. Not a bad trade-off, right? Here's where everything comes together. The 2009 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin. It's an opportunity hiding in plain sight. A reminder that value doesn't always look valuable at first glance. But only those who pay attention, benefit from it. Right now, collectors across the United States are actively searching for these coins. They're attending auctions, scanning listings, and paying top dollar for verified pieces. And every time one of these coins is found and sold, the remaining supply becomes even more valuable. That's how scarcity works. That's how wealth is built, by recognizing opportunities before everyone else does. So don't make the mistake most people make. Don't assume your coins are worthless. Don't wait until it's too late. And definitely don't ignore the possibility that something extraordinary could already be in your possession. Take action today. Check your pennies. Look closely. Educate yourself. And if you find something unusual, don't hesitate to get it verified. Because this isn't just about coins. It's about awareness. It's about opportunity. And most importantly, it's about taking control of your financial future in ways most people never even consider. So the next time you see a penny, don't just walk past it. Pick it up. Examine it. Because that one small decision could lead to something incredibly big. And who knows? The next life-changing discovery might already be in your hands. You're holding a penny. Just 1 cent, something most people toss into a jar, forget in their car, or worse, spend without a second thought. But what if I told you that one ordinary-looking coin, the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, could quietly be worth as much as $654,000? And here's the uncomfortable truth: someone, somewhere, already spent one without realizing it. The question is, will you be next? Picture this. It's late evening. You're going through loose change, maybe cleaning out an old drawer or a dusty piggy bank. Your fingers brush past a small copper coin. 1967, no mint mark. It looks ordinary. Harmless. But what if that exact moment was your financial turning point? What if that single penny could unlock a completely different life? One where money is no longer a constant concern. Now here's where it gets interesting. The 1967 Lincoln penny was produced during a time when the U.S. Mint made a critical decision, removing mint marks entirely to discourage collectors from hoarding coins. That means every 1967 penny appears the same at first glance. No mint mark. No obvious rarity. Nothing screaming valuable. And that's exactly what makes it so dangerous, because the real treasure is hidden in plain sight. But not all 1967 pennies are created equal. Some carry rare minting errors, tiny, almost invisible flaws that can transform a 1-cent coin into a six-figure asset. We're talking about double dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks so unique that collectors compete aggressively to own them. And here's the twist: most people don't even know what they're looking for. They miss it. They spend it. They lose it forever. Let me ask you something. How many times have you ignored a penny? Be honest. How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers simply because you didn't know what to look for? This is where fear creeps in. Not fear of loss, but fear of ignorance. Because once you understand the value hidden in these coins, you can never unsee it. Every penny becomes a possibility. Every coin jar becomes a treasure chest. Now imagine the excitement. You spot something unusual, a slight doubling in the lettering, a strange alignment, a subtle imperfection that shouldn't be there. Your heart starts to race. Could this be it? Could this be the coin that collectors are willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for? And here's the reality: this isn't fantasy. These coins exist. They've been found. They've been sold. Quietly, discreetly, and often by people who were simply paying attention when others weren't. Quick pause, because this part matters. Not every 1967 penny is worth a fortune. But the ones with the right errors? They're in high demand. Serious collectors are constantly searching, constantly bidding, constantly ready to pay premium prices for rare finds. This is a market driven by scarcity, obsession, and the thrill of discovery. Now let's shift gears for a second. Imagine explaining to someone that a penny, yes, a single cent, changed your financial situation. Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what makes this opportunity so powerful. It's overlooked, underestimated, ignored by the majority. And that's your advantage. Because while others dismiss these coins, you now see them differently. You understand that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes, it's hidden in the smallest details, waiting for the right person to recognize it. Here's where urgency kicks in. Every day, these coins are being lost, spent, or forgotten. Every day, fewer of them remain in circulation. And every day, the value of rare examples continues to rise. The window of opportunity is not infinite, it's shrinking. So the next time you come across a 1967 Lincoln penny, don't rush. Don't assume. Take a closer look. Examine it. Question it. Because that small moment of curiosity could be the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. And let's be real for a second. If someone told you a year from now that you once held a $654,000 coin and let it go, how would that feel? Exactly. This isn't just about coins. It's about awareness. It's about seeing opportunities where others see nothing. It's about positioning yourself ahead of the crowd, not by luck, but by knowledge. So start looking. Start paying attention. Because the next life-changing discovery isn't locked away in a vault. It might already be sitting in your pocket. And when you find it, you won't just see a penny. You'll see possibility. Imagine this. You're standing in line at a grocery store, you reach into your pocket, and you casually hand over a few coins, completely unaware that one of those pennies could be worth $743,000. Yes, a single penny. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people watching this right now have either owned, touched, or even spent this exact coin, without ever realizing it. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? Not glanced, really looked. Because hidden among millions of ordinary coins is the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin so deceptive, so overlooked, that it has quietly become one of the most sought-after treasures in modern coin collecting. And here's where it gets serious. What if you already had one, and lost it? Stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and why this small copper coin has created massive wealth for those who recognized it in time. Let's step back for a moment. The 1984 Lincoln penny looks ordinary. Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Nothing flashy. Nothing rare at first glance. But hidden in plain sight is an error that changed everything. It's called the double die error. Now don't let the technical names scare you, this is where things get exciting. On certain 1984 pennies with no mint mark, the word Liberty, and even parts of Lincoln's profile appear slightly doubled, almost like a shadow. And here's the twist. That tiny mistake wasn't supposed to exist. It happened during the minting process, when the coin die struck the design twice at slightly different angles. Most of these flawed dies were caught early, but a few slipped through. And those few? They became legends. Collectors across the United States began hunting for this exact error, driving demand through the roof. Auction houses took notice. Prices climbed. And today, in pristine condition, one of these coins has reached an astonishing $743,000. Yes, for a penny. Let that sink in. Now here's a quick reality check, and a little humor for you. If pennies are basically worthless, then why are millionaires quietly collecting them? Exactly. Because value isn't always obvious. And here's where you need to pay attention. Not every 1984 penny is valuable. In fact, most are still worth just 1 cent. But the ones with the clear doubled features, especially in high-grade condition, are incredibly rare, and that rarity creates opportunity. Opportunity for someone like you. Pattern interrupt. Quick question. What would you do if you found one today? Sell it immediately, or hold it and watch the value climb? Think about that. Because timing is everything. Right now, somewhere in America, these coins are still circulating. They're sitting in jars, hidden in drawers, buried in old collections, or passed down without a second thought. And every day, some of them are being spent. Gone. Lost. Forgotten. That's the part most people don't realize. The opportunity is shrinking. The more these coins disappear, the more valuable the remaining ones become. This is how wealth is quietly built, not through luck, but through awareness. So here's what separates you from everyone else. You now know what to look for. You know the year, 1984. You know the detail, no mint mark. And most importantly, you know the secret, the double die error. That puts you ahead of 99% of people. Now imagine this scenario. Tonight you go home. You check that old coin jar. You take your time. You look closely. And there it is. That subtle doubling, staring back at you. That's not just a coin anymore. That's a moment. A decision. A potential life-changing discovery. Because the truth is, wealth doesn't always come in obvious forms. Sometimes, it looks like a penny. So don't ignore it. Don't rush past it. And whatever you do, don't spend it. Because the next time you hold a 1984 Lincoln penny in your hand, you might not be holding 1 cent. You might be holding $743,000. And the only question left is, will you recognize it in time? What if I told you that a simple penny, a coin most people toss into a jar or leave behind at a gas station, could quietly be worth $654,000? Not gold. Not rare ancient treasure. Just a 1997 Lincoln 1-cent penny. And here's the uncomfortable truth. While you're watching this, someone out there might already be cashing in on one sitting in their drawer, while yours could be slipping through your fingers unnoticed. Now pause for a second. When was the last time you actually looked at your pennies? Because this isn't just about a coin. This is about missed opportunities, hidden wealth, and the thin line between those who recognize value and those who spend it without thinking. Let's uncover the truth. In 1997, millions of Lincoln pennies were struck at the Denver Mint. Ordinary coins, everyday currency, designed to be forgotten. But somewhere in that massive production, something went wrong. And in the world of coin collecting, wrong can mean life-changing. We're talking about rare minting errors, tiny, almost invisible imperfections that transform a 1-cent coin into a 6-figure asset. Now imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer, maybe a jar full of loose change you've ignored for years. You pick up a penny, glance at it, and notice something slightly off. A doubling in the lettering. A misalignment. A subtle but powerful flaw. That moment, right there, could be worth more than a luxury car, more than a year's salary, maybe more than you ever expected from something so small. And here's where it gets exciting. Collectors are actively hunting for these errors. The demand isn't fading, it's growing. Why? Because the supply is incredibly limited. Most of these rare error coins are still undiscovered, hiding in plain sight. Think about that. Hidden. In plain sight. Not in a vault. Not in a museum. Possibly in your pocket right now. Quick question. Would you recognize a $654,000 opportunity if it was staring back at you from the palm of your hand? Or would you accidentally use it to buy chewing gum? Because let's be honest, that would hurt a little. Now let's get serious. The 1997 Lincoln penny isn't just valuable because it's old. It's not that old. Its power comes from specific errors. We're talking about rare variations like double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks that create unique patterns on the coin's surface. These aren't obvious to the untrained eye. And that's where the fear kicks in. Because most people don't know what to look for. They overlook it. They ignore it. They spend it. And just like that, a potential six-figure asset disappears into circulation again. Let that sink in. Every day, coins worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands, are unknowingly spent. Not because people are careless, but because they were never taught what to see. And here's the shift: once you know, you can't unsee it. You begin to notice details. The spacing in the letters. The sharpness of Lincoln's profile. The subtle doubling in Liberty, or the date. These tiny clues separate ordinary coins from extraordinary ones. And the market? It rewards knowledge. Collectors are willing to pay massive premiums for verified error coins in excellent condition. A high-grade 1997D error penny can command prices that seem almost unbelievable, until you realize the rarity, the demand, and the story behind it. Because every rare coin tells a story. A mistake at the mint. A moment frozen in metal. A piece of history, accidentally created. Let me ask you something. What if your next big financial breakthrough doesn't come from a job, or a business, but from something you already own? Sounds crazy? That's exactly what people said, right before they discovered their first valuable coin. Here's the reality. Opportunities like this don't come with announcements. They don't knock on your door. They don't send you notifications. They sit quietly, waiting to be discovered by those who are paying attention. The 1997D Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of hidden potential. A reminder that value isn't always obvious, and that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest rewards. But here's where urgency comes in. The more people learn about these coins, the harder they become to find. Every day, more collectors enter the market. More coins get identified. More opportunities disappear. Which means the window is slowly closing. So what do? You start looking. You check your change. You go through old jars. You examine every penny with intention, not casually, but carefully. Because the difference between 1 cent and $654,000 is knowledge and action. Don't wait for someone else to find what could have been yours. Don't let ignorance cost you an opportunity of a lifetime. Because somewhere out there, maybe even in your home, that coin is waiting. And when you finally find it, when that moment hits and you realize what you're holding, you won't just see a penny. You'll see possibility. You'll see power. You'll see the beginning of a completely different financial story. So the next time you hear that familiar clink of loose change, don't ignore it. That sound? It might just be the sound of your future calling. What if I told you that right now, sitting quietly in a jar, a drawer, or even your pocket, could be a single penny worth $587,000? Not a gold coin. Not a rare ancient artifact. Just a simple 1973D Lincoln 1 cent, a coin millions of people have touched, spent, and ignored. Now here's the unsettling part. What if you already had one, and didn't know it? What if you unknowingly spent it on coffee, or left it behind in loose change, or worse, gave it away? That's not just a missed opportunity, that's a life-changing mistake. Because in the world of rare coins, value doesn't shout, it whispers. And only those who know where to listen, win. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked closely at a penny? Not glanced, not tossed aside, but really looked at it. Exactly. Most people never do. And that's why they stay broke, while a small group quietly cashes in on hidden treasures hiding in plain sight. Today, you're about to step into that small group. Because this isn't just about a coin, it's about a discovery that could completely change your financial trajectory. The 1973D Lincoln 1 cent penny, minted in Denver, was produced in the billions. On the surface, it's ordinary, predictable, forgettable. But beneath that ordinary appearance lies a secret that collectors are willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for. We're talking about rare minting errors, tiny imperfections created during the coin's production process. And here's where things get interesting. These mistakes are exactly what transform a 1-cent coin into a six-figure asset. Imagine a machine striking thousands of coins per minute. One slight misalignment, one tiny flaw in the die, and suddenly, you've got a double die error, where the design appears slightly duplicated. Or an off-center strike, where the image is shifted, creating a visually dramatic effect. Now pause for a second, because this is where most people miss it. They assume it's just damage. They shrug and move on. But collectors? They see opportunity. They see rarity. They see money. And that's the difference between someone who spends pennies and someone who profits from them. The most valuable 1973 pennies are those with clear, undeniable errors, coins that stand out immediately when you know what to look for. Crisp doubling on the lettering. Strange spacing. Unique textures that shouldn't exist. These are not defects. They are signatures of rarity. Here's a quick reality check. If I handed you 10 pennies right now, would you be able to identify the one worth $587,000? Most people wouldn't. But after today, you might. And let's inject a little humor here. Imagine explaining to someone that your lucky penny just paid for your house. Sounds ridiculous, until it happens. Because it does happen. Collectors across the United States are actively searching for these coins. Auctions are heating up. Prices are climbing. And the supply? Fixed. No new 1973 pennies are being made. Which means every day that passes, the rare ones become even more valuable. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are you going to be the person who finds one, or the person who hears about it too late? Right now, somewhere in America, someone is unknowingly holding one of these rare coins. It could be in a forgotten piggy bank, a dusty jar, a stack of old change inherited from a relative. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Opportunity doesn't wait. Every day, valuable coins are lost, spent, or overlooked simply because people don't recognize what they have. And once it's gone, it's gone. There's no rewind button. No second chance. But you're different now. You're aware. And awareness is the first step toward wealth. So here's what you do next. Start checking. Look at your pennies. Pay attention to details. Don't rush. Because the difference between 1 cent and $587,000 is often just a few microscopic details. And let me leave you with this thought. The people who build wealth aren't always the ones who work harder. They're the ones who see what others ignore. So the next time you come across a penny, don't dismiss it. Don't underestimate it. Because hidden inside that tiny piece of copper could be a story, an opportunity, and a fortune waiting to be claimed. And who knows, the next life-changing discovery might already be in your hands. What if I told you that a single penny, a coin you might ignore, toss aside, or leave forgotten in a jar, could quietly be worth $487,000? Not a rare gold coin, not an ancient artifact, just a 1975 Lincoln 1-cent penny. Sounds unbelievable, right? But here's the uncomfortable truth. While you're watching this, someone, somewhere, is cashing in on coins you might already own, or worse, coins you may have already spent. Pause for a second and think, when was the last time you actually looked at your pennies? Because most people don't. And that's exactly why opportunities like this exist. Now imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer, maybe going through a jar of loose change, and suddenly, you spot a 1975 penny with a tiny D mint mark. You almost overlook it. Almost. But that moment, that single decision to pay attention, could be the difference between ordinary and life-changing. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Not every 1975 penny is valuable. In fact, most are worth just 1 cent. So what separates a worthless coin from one worth nearly $500,000? Errors. Yes, mistakes. The kind that weren't supposed to happen. The kind that slipped through the cracks of the minting process. The kind collectors obsess over. And if you're not paying attention, you might miss them entirely. Quick question: what's more painful? Never finding a valuable coin, or realizing you had one and let it go for a penny? Exactly. Let's step into the world of the 1975 Lincoln cent, a coin minted in Denver during a time when millions were produced daily. On the surface, it's ordinary. But beneath that surface lies something extraordinary, for those who know what to look for. The most valuable versions of this coin come with rare minting errors. We're talking about double die averse errors, where the text and numbers appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during production. It's subtle, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. And here's the twist: these errors weren't meant to leave the mint. They're accidents. And accidents, in the world of coin collecting, are where the real money lies. Now imagine holding one of these coins and noticing that the date, 1975, looks just a little off, the letters in Liberty slightly duplicated, the phrase, "In God We Trust," showing faint shadows. That's not damage. That's not wear. That's value. Massive value. Coins like these, when authenticated and preserved in high condition, have been known to reach jaw-dropping prices, up to $487,000 in today's market. Let that sink in. $487,000 for a penny. Sounds like a joke, right? It's not. But here's the catch, and this is where most people fail: condition matters. A lot. A coin in pristine, uncirculated condition can multiply in value compared to one that's worn down. That means the difference between a few dollars and a life-changing payout. So the question becomes, how many people unknowingly damage their coins before realizing what they have? Too many. Here's a quick reality check. Have you ever cleaned a coin to make it look shiny? If you have, you might have just erased thousands of dollars in value. Crazy, right? Because in this world, imperfection creates value, but tampering destroys it. And this is exactly why collectors are constantly searching, constantly hunting, constantly paying top dollar for coins that most people ignore. The demand is real. The market is active. And the window of opportunity? It doesn't stay open forever. Now picture this: you take a closer look at your coins tonight. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Tonight. You check your pockets, your drawers, that old jar sitting in the corner. And suddenly, there it is. A 1975 penny that looks just a little different. Your heart starts racing. Could this be it? This is where your life begins to shift, from someone who overlooks opportunity, to someone who recognizes it. Because the truth is, wealth doesn't always come from working harder. Sometimes, it comes from seeing what others don't. And right now, coins like the 1975 Lincoln penny are hiding in plain sight across America. In homes. In piggy banks. In forgotten collections. The difference between those who profit and those who miss out is awareness. So here's the move: start checking. Learn the signs. Look for doubling. Pay attention to condition. And most importantly, don't rush to spend what you haven't fully examined. Because that penny in your hand? It might not just be a coin. It might be your next breakthrough. And remember, opportunities like this don't announce themselves loudly. They whisper. Quietly. Subtly. Waiting for the right person to notice. The only question is, will that person be you?